What up, good people? You know what I'm saying? Happy election day. You know, we got alternative tribe up in here.
Yeah.
Little Rock Freedom Fund represent.
Yeah.
We got the diversity booth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's all the smoke. It's all the smoke. You know, we talking about the ballot measures on election day. Hopefully everybody is either going to vote today or, you know what I'm saying, has already early voted. You know what I'm saying? So we just want to get out there, drop a couple of jewels on the people for the ones that's about to go vote, talk about these ballot measures and, you know what I'm saying, just get people activated and ready for, you know what I'm saying, tonight so we can watch these election results. Midterms are very important. You know what I'm saying? We gotta elevate in Arkansas, man. You know, the last major election, we ranked 50th. According to statista.org, we ranked 50th in voter registration and voter turnout in Arkansas. So, you know, we got a lot of people who push for campaigns to have voter education available to go out in droves and give as many people as they can registered and follow up with them. We got free rides going to the polls for people. You know what I'm saying? We just encouraging everybody. So 50th, last election, that's out of 51, because they include the District of Columbia in those stats, DC. So, you know, this is major for Arkansas to get out there in the midterms. We got opportunities to elect a first black governor, if possible, you know what I'm saying? So we waiting to see what's gonna happen with that. And there's a lot of things going on in Placer County also with the issues 1, 2, 3, and 4. So Jionni, I'm just gonna get into it. You know,
Get into it. Let the people know. Y'all, that's it. This election is really important because there are a lot of things that are on the table that we have the power to be able to shift simply by coming out, casting our vote, and letting people know where we stand on the issues. So we're gonna get into the issues. That way y'all know what's up.
Already. So and we gotta give a shout out to Katina.
Katina.
Well, too. What's up?
What's up?
She ready to drop some of her jewels on us as well, too.
I don't got no jewels today. I'm here for the conversation. Listen to you guys. I'm excited.
Oh, okay. That's cool. We could do that too. So we just gonna jump right into it. Issue number 1. You know, I'm gonna read a little bit of the title because it's too long to really just be telling people what it is. You know what I'm saying? So issue number 1 is a constitutional amendment to allow the general to convene an extraordinary session. We just gonna stop it right there. You know what I'm saying? Because they be coming with them research papers in the title sometimes. We ain't got time to go through all that. So issue number 1, basically, it's an issue that's basically saying, telling the legislators they can vote themselves into special session whenever they feel like. Right now, we have a General Assembly, a legislative session every 2 years. The next one will start January 2023. And those usually last from January to April, May sometimes, but that's usually it. Those 4 or 5 months, they file.
Can we just also add that typically while they are in session, we spend most of the time, we as in like the regular public going, oh, hell, what they finna do. I'm just saying that it is necessary to discuss why we don't want them to be able to just do that anytime.
Yeah, exactly. Because they file thousands of bills every legislative session, and they either fail or pass or get put in interim study. And then in that short amount of time, in those 4 or 5 months, they make laws for the next 2 years. Right now, the governor is the only person that has power to call a special session. What they want to do is put that power in the hands of our legislators. And if you go to a legislative session, you see how ignorant they get every session. Always unfiltered, always off the chain, you know? So basically, I don't feel like they should have that power. I think that what we got right now is good enough, and the governor having special sessions, that's good enough for us, because if they get the opportunity to be in session, when they vote on it, best believe they're gonna be in session probably damn near all year long. You know what I'm saying?
And we're not gonna know what's in those conversations and being voted upon. The transparency piece.
Oh yeah, because they barely like to be transparent now, you know.
That's it.
So, you know, I don't think it's a good idea. I say vote against issue 1. We will have legislators who will be turning their attention to being professional legislators all year long, working with lobbyists who got millions of dollars to sit there and, you know, try to pass issues over and over again, whether they fail or they put an interim study or not. This will probably end up doing some real damage. So I say vote against that one. They'll be sucking up our tax monies with those per diems. We be under the impression they all live in Little Rock. Now they live all over the state. You know?
For the record, the diversity booth also says vote no. What say ye, alternative tribe?
No, we are at a consensus.
So
issue 1 is not for the people. That's basically what we're saying.
Not for the people.
3 for 3.
Okay. All right.
3 for 3.
Issue 1, not for the people. So that's
it's
what we're
not
saying.
for the people. Vote against issue 1. And you can, you know what I'm saying? That's what it's going to say on the ballot too. It's going to say for or against. It's not going to say no or yes. It's going to say for or against, vote against issue number 1. Did y'all have any other barrier? I mean, not any other, that's another barrier I'm basically trying to say to what we got going on right now as far as voting, you know what I'm saying? We need our legislators to have checks and balances, basically. So,
absolutely.
We're gonna keep it clear and concise, short and simple with y'all. Issue number 2 is a constitutional amendment.
Keep the majority.
Ballot initiative reform amendment. All right, so once again, they're not really telling y'all what it is in the title for the most part. So basically, this is what it is. If issue number 2 passes, it will be requiring a 60% majority vote. Supermajority, I'm sorry. 60% supermajority vote to pass all citizens-led ballot initiatives. And when I say citizens-led ballot initiative, I can just give you one quick example. I can give you 2 examples. A couple years ago, we were able to raise the minimum wage because citizens got together, they did enough petitions, got enough signatures to say, hey, we're gonna raise state minimum wage from $7.25 to $11.25 in increments. So the citizens of Arkansas did that, not our legislators, the citizens did that. And that passed basically, you know what I'm saying, with a majority of the votes. Same thing with medical marijuana. That was another citizens-led initiative. People got together and said they want to get medical marijuana in the state. We had a majority rule, majority vote, passed medical marijuana.
Also, I think it's also important to note that even with the medical marijuana, it did not pass by 55, 56%. So it only passed by 51, 52% that time. And what they're asking is for there to be a 60% majority to get things passed.
60%. Right now, things pass, citizen-led initiatives pass by 50% plus 1 vote.
That's it.
Raise that to 60%.
That's it.
Which is also major when you look at how they have redrawn the districting lines over this last year, right? So they have successfully gerrymandered the vote. And I think it's important for us to also be mindful that that happened while, you know, most of us was going on in our regular lives. So this issue specifically is affected by previous decisions, right? So they're making it harder for us to get to that 60% no matter what.
Yeah.
So
So basically, we saying this was strategically put on there, so because they already know the majority, we don't really give super majority votes. We get most of the citizen-led things that are put on the ballot are only passed by 50, 51%, 52% or whatever, never 60%. Is that what we're saying?
What they saying is y'all ain't gonna keep trying to make the people actually have the power. And we're gonna try to put something on here to where we keep that and there is no checks and balances. So
Okay.
yeah. So Little Rock Freedom Fund, what say ye?
Oh, it's a hell no. We voting against that. You know what I'm saying? We already got something in place where we get a simple majority vote. Because this is my thing. This only changes things for citizen-led initiatives. We still gonna elect our governor, our mayors, our sheriffs, our judges, all by majority of 50% plus one. So why are we changing it up for citizens-led initiatives?
Look at that.
Totally wrong right there. And so we have different guidelines for voter approval on the same ballot. Nah, that way we voting against that Little Rock Freedom Fund. That's what we taking that.
Alternative Tribe, what say ye?
All power to the people. We're voting no.
Diversity Booth, Katina, what you got? All right, we say the Diversity Booth stands with the Alternative Tribe and Little Rock Freedom Fund with a hell no.
Already, okay. Clear and concise, we get to it. You know what I'm saying? All right, so issue number 3. Another one of those titles, you got to pay attention to what they actually saying in it. What's the meat and the substance in it? Issue number 3, constitutional amendment to create the Arkansas Religious Freedom Amendment. Hey, they're trying to get you with that one. Okay. So this amendment does not permit the government to burden anyone's religious practice for any reason, even in cases public health, security, order, protection of other people's rights and liberties here in Arkansas. Basically, I'm gonna just break it down to you like this because the rest of it is pretty much redundant, saying the same thing over and over again. This amendment got put out there for people who want to, basically during the pandemic, people wanted to say, hey, you can't tell me not to go here to church or whatever, because it'll be a super spreader situation. No, we know what's best for us. We're not obeying any COVID-19 pandemic orders to not have mass gatherings. We got this because my faith tells me that we don't need to listen to y'all public health orders. I think that's wild. I think that's crazy. Church and state should be separate. We don't need to be burdening our government with ways to show our power over the government through the practice of religion. We already got the right to have our religious freedom and exercise it in any way that we feel like we can. But church and state are separate, and this gonna open up the door to like a lot of abuses. So people can use religion to try to justify anything that they do. As far as whether we want to give people service or not based on their religious beliefs. Basically, we want to impose our views on people who feel a different way. It just opens up the door to too many different things. The language in this is very vague, and we're gonna have a whole ton of problems on our hands if something like this passed. That's in my opinion. And so I say that we had a right to freedom of expression through religion, but we don't have the right to impose that on the government anytime something a decision has been made by the state. You know what I'm saying? We can't be getting that mixed up. It's gonna lead to lawsuits and all types of stuff. I say vote against it. Little Rock Freedom Fund says vote against it.
The Diversity Booth sides with Little Rock Freedom Fund and with the people. Yeah, we say no.
Really? Now the Alternative Tribe says no. However, I think it's important to talk about the nuances of why, right? Because language is important. And when we talk about religious freedom, hell, when we talk about any freedoms, for me, this bill is overreaching in an unnecessary capacity, because to an extent, all of the things it's supposed to be enumerating are supposed to be in place. But when you open the door with the language and the way the bill is written up, I agree with Osyrus that it's going to create problems. However, we are not against the inherent privilege of religious freedom and the ability to autonomously decide without governmental interference upon those decisions, right? And again, those are nuances of language. So the way these bills are written up makes a difference, right? Whether you support what they are providing or not is a different matter in terms of whether it's actually going to accomplish, its intention. And I just say that as we preface going into issue 4.
Yeah.
But yes, no, from the alternative tribe as well.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, hey, in our state, ain't no telling what people will use religion to do with it being majority the way it is.
No, I agree. Never mind.
Yeah, when I read it, it was more so like, I'm a teacher. Are they going to impose religious beliefs on how I teach? And what is that going to be like put on me? Because I will be a governmental entity as far as like using that. So it was a slippery slope for me. So I'm like, eventually it could affect, really, teaching that we try to incorporate into the classroom and affect that. So I just, so I didn't like it because it was going down. So I just voted against it.
Most deaf. So I think we 3 for 3 on this one too as well.
False.
We got to let it keep it wet, you know what I'm saying? So now we getting to all the smoke, issue 4.
Hey.
Oh man. This look, you know what I'm saying? This is what the people came from. Saying, hey, you just gonna keep it clear.
You gotta get the people what they want.
That's it.
Hey, we got to. So issue number 4 is basically the amendment to legalize recreational marijuana in the state of Arkansas. Recreational marijuana in the state of Arkansas for people 21 and I know everybody got their views on cannabis, on marijuana. You know what I'm saying? We will be like the first state in the South, I want to say, to pass recreational marijuana. But hey, it's a toss-up in a lot of people's eyes. I have talked to people around the nation that are national cannabis advocates. And so basically, you know what I'm saying, recreational marijuana will be legal for people for up to an ounce, people 21 and up. Other parts of people have been asking about. Let's just go to y'all, straight to y'all, and y'all views on it, before I start saying anything, you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, you don't want to leave this one now, huh? Look.
Hey, I can say this right here. The one glaring thing that I mentioned that I would mention off top was there was no expungement for people with marijuana convictions in the past.
And the one thing that I'll mention to that, Osai, is that if you can show me another state in this nation that passed the expungement along with the bill, I go bam, it can be done off top.
Hey, we got to dream with the radical imagination. Sometimes it ain't been done because it wasn't the right people, it wasn't the right situation, it wasn't the right state, it wasn't the right movement. So
yes, and the state that's 50% that's 50th in the nation for voting is the right state to get it done, huh?
We might not be 50th after this time. You know what I'm saying? Might not be 50th.
We might be down to
48. Hey, look, I was organizing people to come and vote.
Same here. I've been telling all the babies to register. You know what I'm saying? Like, we cannot forsake the young people's vote. That 18 to 21 year old. I feel like
we treating this one. We are treating this issue like marriage and not like the bus stop. You know what I'm saying? Any other time we tell folks, vote on it that's gonna get you the closest to where you're trying to go. It's not a marriage. You're not looking for your favorite shoe. It's not your life partner. And you are unable to show me how this is not going to get us closer to where we're trying to go. Especially with the other things that are on the bill, when you actually see that we have systems and machines, $1 million machines working against us at this point in order to mitigate our vote, in order to silence our voices, in order to redistrict us in a way that you separating 18,000 votes in one district alone. All I'm saying is, does this get us closer to where we're trying to go?
Well, I think that's a good question you ask, because I think it does a little bit of both, right? Right. When we talk about people's ability to be able to freely express, right? Like, I'm for, decriminalizing cannabis and cannabis prohibition. I'm also very well aware that when you talk about these systems that have done disenfranchising, we're also about to feed one of those machines with the revenue that comes from these profits should this pass, right? And they go hand in hand, right? They're inextricably linked. So there is no, we're gonna get closer over here and we're not gonna get closer over here. We're helping feed the machine on one side, even though it appears that people will have greater freedoms on the other. Right. So how do we deduce what the effects of that will be long term when we are thinking about it right now? Other than historical references. And I think we should look at those too.
So in the event that both pass, right? In the event that we continue to not need 60% majority in order for the people to speak, which we've done before, then that is the checks and balances for me. That is how we ensure that they don't get to run off and run wild with what we are saying is getting us closer to what we're trying to be.
They're going to get 15% either way. We don't get to decide what happens with that.
We don't, but we also get to decide what happens with us. Like, we also can bring those other things that you talked about, bringing to the table, ensuring that we make sure that we understand what happens with the reentry and all of these other things, legislative things. These are things that we can assist in deciding. Additionally, as a diversity specialist, what I know is bringing people to the table is necessary in order to have the best outcome. And I am saying that while I cannot speak for the Arkansas State Police, what I do know is that if we were going to bring them to the table, hypothetically, if I were going to run this bill and bring them to the table, or thinking about who needs to be on the table, they absolutely need to be at the table in order for us to have the best outcome for the people. Because without them, to me, that it seems more likely that they would be, if you will, vengeful or angry.
But are they really?
I'm about to say, never mind. They've been vengeful and angry.
And yes, and you want to exacerbate that. You want to exacerbate that?
It's not about it being exacerbated. It's about looking at what does the capacity look like 10 years from now at 15% increase annually of their revenue based on what the revenue is of cannabis sales, right? Which we know folk love to smoke, right? So let's have this conversation, because once it passes, okay? It's taxable. All of these things are real, right? Like, again, like I said, we are for decriminalizing marijuana and eliminating marijuana prohibition. Absolutely. Also, I'm very clear that 2 years ago, we stood in the streets and it was a lot of folk who put their life on the line in the name of the conversation of defunding the police. And now we saying, not only can y'all have y'all money, we're going to give y'all some more money, long as y'all say we can smoke in peace. But the actual propensity for in peace, historically, wherever.
I absolutely feel like the conversation around defunding the police has not changed in the larger scheme of things. We absolutely need to address, are we sending out crisis intervention trained officers? Are we sending out social workers? Like, those things haven't changed, and those are things that are still in the hands of the people. Those are things that we can still request. Those are things that we can still riot for. Those are things that we can still protest. So nothing has changed about our ask as it relates to what needs to happen with the police force.
But the return on those asks, before we start giving them more money, do we care enough to hold out? Or Or do we feel like this is the best we can do? Hold on. Do we feel like this bill is the absolute best we could do?
I genuinely feel my thoughts and feelings are, if we don't pass it, it's not coming back. And I could be wrong, and I would love to be wrong. But my genuine thoughts and feelings are, with the way this ballot looks, with the way the political landscape of this state looks, and God forbid, if these elections turn out the way we think they're going to, this getting back on the ballot doesn't seem like it's happening. So that's why, for me, this one feels like it's either now or never, and then you change it once we have it, versus I don't like this meal, I'm not gonna eat nothing, start from scratch. I'm gonna take this cornbread real quick. I'm gonna see what I can do. We've always made something out of nothing. That's what we, as far as the diaspora, does. That's what we do.
But if the cornbread been dipped in pork juice, and you know that pork juice gonna kill you, I mean, we still eating it?
If it got hot sauce on it.
Oh man.
This is my only question. Okay, so are there other states who have the same demographic, same political landscape as we have, that have passed bills like this with the same language? Or have there been other states with the same political landscape, demographic as our state, that have passed it and had different language where it didn't incorporate 15% to the police? It added something about not decriminalizing, but expungement of records. Do we have an example where that has actually passed?
No.
If so, but similar, like it has been an example?
What I'm saying is
the language like ours, like what we have on the ballot, or has that been something that there's a different language that is not as,
to speak to that specifically, the people who wrote this one, you know what I'm saying, regardless of how you feel about what it says right now, the people that wrote this one absolutely didn't write it in a vacuum and consulted with, you know what I'm saying, cannabis activists and workers around the state as well. And so in doing so, what they also saw was there had not been a state that was able to pass expungement at the same time as the recreational. Now, I don't know who to blame that on. I don't know whether we blame that on, whatever. I also feel that trying to compare other states all the time to us is not fair because of the things that we have going on. I mean, we're asking a lot while not thinking about the bigger picture sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get off into a tangent as it relates to health and other such things. I'm just saying that you have to look at the issues of Arkansas as being the issues of Arkansas. And I can't keep comparing us to places like Mississippi and things like that, because we have different issues.
But we just compared it when we're looking at other and to see if it was passed in other states.
But because you asked the question, and the question is no.
So
they ain't been able to pass expungement.
But so we're talking about comparison, and then you're talking about don't compare it.
No, I'm talking about don't compare it in the sense of, we can compare it in the sense of demographics, and that's fine. But I'm talking about health equity and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Like the issues that we have going on that we're asking of people. I don't feel like that's a different show, because I'm going all the way from ACEs to where we are health wise. The point is, as far as medical marijuana is concerned, or legalizing marijuana, there has not been a state that they have been able to pass expungement, if that's your question, at the same time as legalization.
Okay,
yeah,
but what about the language on other bills where it has passed, and what did the language say on that versus ours? That's the only question I have.
In terms of allocations?
Yeah, allocations. Like, what did it say? What did they give their money to?
I thought Osai was going to answer that.
No, I was just gonna make a couple of points. You know what I'm saying?
Those are my only questions. I'm not, because I am with Diversity Booth. I'm asking the questions, but I'm with Diversity Booth. We gonna say what we gonna say for issue 4 at the end of this conversation.
Yeah. As far as what's happening in other states, I think you know, we can't necessarily model ourselves after what happened in other states based on the history of things, because we do know that even though it's passed in some states, they still been using marijuana to criminalize other people on that level. And so, like, when I think about legalizing recreational marijuana, I think about no new crimes, no youth criminalization of it. You know what I'm saying? No pretextual policing. I want to look at automatic resentencing for marijuana offenses. I'm looking at automatic hearing for sentence, for enhancements and sentences just based on marijuana. Why are we looking at enhancing people's sentences when they just have simple marijuana possession? And so, you know, and then on a bigger level, while some people are kind of perturbed in the situation with the medical marijuana deal, was we didn't have early access. And for years and years, Black people in our communities, we have been over-policed and over-criminalized for possession of marijuana. But then as soon as it's available in our communities, we're the first ones that were left out of the equation. And so, you know, as far as dispensaries, so like, I compared it to me and my boys, we started doing home brewing. We're trying to make our own beers. And we have to do research on this over and over and over again. Hey, you know what I'm saying? We have to do research on this over and over again to make a good quality beer. And we do that from home in hopes of one day having a quality beer to have our own brewery. And that dream of being Black brewery owners here in the state.
So Ashay, you know what I'm saying? Can we get a shout out?
Ashay.
Yeah, Ashay. Go follow it on TikTok. Go follow it on Instagram and Facebook. And so, like, I look at it for the same way for the people who are enthusiasts and advocates for cannabis. They want to have the opportunity to be growers and cultivators. They have to experiment and perfect their strain. You know what I'm saying? So I'm talking about the equity part of that. You know what I'm saying? We got to repeal, we got to repair, we got to have reparations in this. And if we don't never get to the opportunity, I mean, are we going to simply say that, you know, this is going to be good enough in the end game? Because we get all type of promises during a legislative session. And sometimes it never manifests. You know what I'm saying?
And this bill is written up. It says that 40 new licenses will be granted afterwards, right? In the same lottery system that we presently have. But if you look at the system in order that they got in place in order to get passed to be qualified and the requirements, it still disenfranchises us no matter how you spend it, right? From the $1 million in liquid to having to be pulled out the lottery, right? And who gets pulled and who don't get pulled and who anyway. But you know,
I am also saying that a lot of the things that you are speaking to jumpstart those conversations, not only like jumpstart the minute it gets passed, but without it being passed, the conversations don't have to be had. You are forcing the hand for the conversation, but I'm saying you're forcing the hand with
medical marijuana now. Medical marijuana has already been passed. So that conversation is happening.
Now, I'm not the equity piece. The equity piece is absolutely something that needs to be discussed and has been discussed, and I feel not communicated effectively. It's also not for me to speak on
that means it hasn't been discussed with the people that needed to be at the table.
And I'm absolutely
so agreeing. It hadn't been discussed. It's been discussed with certain activists and not other activists.
Agreed.
So that's the issue right now.
The equity piece was not communicated to the community, and as far as wide as it should have been, or there would be less conversation about that because there actually was a desire to have pathways to ownership for the BIPOC community that did not get discussed and could not be advocated for, or the four of us will be having a different conversation on this call. So I do believe that is a failure on the part of the people who assist in bringing the bill forth. But as far as the things that Osai was speaking about, as far as the criminalization and the legalizing and the expungement, those are conversations to me that immediately have to be had by legislators and by lawmakers once this is passed. Like you absolutely, like it is the forcing of the hand because now this is on the table. It's like it's here. Whereas when it's hypothetical, those conversations are continued to, well, if this, and if this, and if this, but ain't no if we pass it. It's now this is here, let's go.
Okay, so if this passes, what other opportunities are on the table for us to be able to do some type of system revisions? Let's talk about what the work looks like if this passes.
And the time frame of that.
I mean, those things are on the okay. So now you're asking me to give a time frame for the
because if we talk about 10 years, 15 years down the line, 20
but
years.
that's the thing. But okay, but half of that is on us, and the other half is on legislators. So I'm saying you're asking me to give a timeline for something that some of those things are in our hand, and it's a matter of how much y'all want to put Osyrus shoes to the, to the pavement while he out here re-registering people to vote and setting up these rallies for us and all that type of stuff. So I'm
just not looking for a long time frame. Like, I don't want to be I'm 43, 63, right? That's all I'm saying.
So it sounds like we need to start doing.
We got work to do.
And what I'm saying, it sounds like we have work to do. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it that it's in the hands of people that ain't us. I'm saying if it's in the hands of the people, then it's on us to do the work. How much you finna turn your shoes? How much you finna pat and turn?
I'm cool with it, but will the people who are behind this bill also listen to the voices of those, since we weren't included in the discussion prior to?
Yeah, that has to community input has to be there. I feel like this, I personally feel like if some of the things that we talked about that are like we're missing in this were included from the jump, I feel like the people will be more on board, and we wouldn't have to worry about police coming out against this or this group coming out against us, because in all reality of it, you know what I'm saying, who is listening to them when it comes to voting? My community ain't listening to the police when they say we not voting for this person, we endorsing this person. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it would have been less questions and more stronger support around it. But when you play it safe, then you got these other cannabis organizations coming out talking about they not taking the stance against this, and this is why, and they linking up with super conservative groups to stand side by side with them. I was like, that sounds real petty.
So here's my thing. I'm not disagreeing.
This is what happens when you don't get it. When you don't get the community input needed necessary.
What happens when you don't bring diversity specialists to the table from the beginning? I'm agreeing that's exactly what you're saying.
I am agreeing, and I think like if they didn't do it at the beginning, are they gonna do it afterwards? And so
why wouldn't your favorite diversity specialist include in all of these conversations?
I mean, I don't know.
I'm one call away from the favorite diversity specialist.
You know what I'm saying?
I answer every email.
Here's what
I
I'm
go to
saying.
every panel discussion.
Right. She my sister. That's all I'm saying.
Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying so before we take an official vote with the organizations, here's what I'm saying. I agree. Absolutely, and with all unmitigated temerity, agree that the plan was not done with a sense of inclusivity, period. Or the conversations that we're having amongst not even just us, but as representatives of the community, you know what I'm saying? We would be on one accord if they had been, you know what I'm saying? Because there would have been time to do all of these conversations prior to November 8th. You know what I'm saying? Like we would have had that way before we even started putting that on the bill. 2, I am saying that at minimum, this puts us closer to where we're going than we currently are. And that's something that has to be discussed or decided when you go in the voting box. 3, I do trust the people and the power of the people that this decision, if we decide to move forward I trust us enough to be able to make this look the way it needs to in our best interest, with the help of our legislators and or the removal of legislators who are not willing to make this look like it need to. That's all I got. Alternative Tribe, do you have any last last comments before we take our official vote? Little Rock Freedom Fund.
All I can say is y'all got to figure out what's most important to you when you make this vote. You know what I'm saying? Because the alternative tribe believes in the power of the people, we're going to stand with whatever the people, whichever direction the people say, we rocking, okay? But absolutely, there was some more work that needed to be done preliminarily.
Absolutely agree.
It would have served the people better if
Heck yeah.
they were a little different, right? So we can work it either way.
Little Rock Freedom Fund, do you have any last words before we do an official vote?
This issue is very near and dear to me. The founders of the Freedom Fund, Free Don Jeffrey. Don Jeffrey.
Free Don.
Yeah, she's been incarcerated for
over a year.
Over a year. Incarcerated June 25th, 2021 for failing a drug test for marijuana, even though she was prescribed medical marijuana in the state of Arkansas. Her federal charges basically allowed them to use marijuana to put her in jail and lock her. So it's very near and dear to me. All I can say is this right here. I'm not going to keep on repeating myself. We had a very colorful conversation. And I'm the same way. Vote where your heart is on this issue. I will not be, if it passes, I will be working to make sure we got things put in place and they hear our voice in the legislative session. I'll make sure we got a mass movement of people. We're gonna show it with some radical information, some dreams and inspiration and imagination, pass everything possible. And then, if it don't pass, spark it up, but be careful. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Hear me? Because everybody I know, this don't change their mind.
And the other part of that is if it doesn't pass, and so I'm gonna just the last thing, like to what you said, I am all for the radical dreaming. If it don't pass, let's continue to do so. All I'm saying is this is somebody's, for lack of better words, they didn't dream radically, but they took a little cat nap. This is somebody's cat nap, and we voting on somebody's cat nap. And all I'm saying is, you know what I'm saying? Like
there was a dream in the cat nap, huh?
Huh?
There was a dream in the cat nap.
They just took a little cat nap, you know what I'm saying? So
the sleep paralysis went on.
Like they didn't even make it to REM sleep. I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm just saying that, you know, is this dream beneficial? So for the official vote, Little Rock Freedom Fund, what say ye on issue 4?
I say the people rule, and we are going to adapt to the situation, but we understand that we got work to do. So that's how we vote. We voting on work. That's what we getting.
Alternative tribe, what say ye?
That's what he said. We saying we dedicated to the work no matter what. All power to the people. We got work to do no matter how it turn out. So yeah.
Diversity
to the people. I mean, it's almost like
y'all ain't gonna say nothing. We just gonna say
the diversity booth is saying.
So let me contextualize this space real quick, because I know we got 1 hot minute. But when you see both sides of the issue, right, and how it can play out, for me, it's looking at the short term and the long term. In the short, you know what I'm saying? It's not a whole lot changing in the event that it does not pass. In the event that it does pass, what are the future long-term implications on whether or not we are able to go back and fix some of these things that didn't get addressed in the beginning, right? Because language matters, words matters, and whether or not the intention and the impact are the same matter. So we're gonna let the people handle this one. We're gonna abstain from sharing, you know, and let y'all walk in y'all's power.
The diversity booth is saying that we are taking nothing as far as we are acknowledging that the power always will rest with the people. That officially we're gonna go ahead and take a stance and say we are voting for issue 4. And we are also saying if it doesn't pass, nothing changes. We stand with the people and we will redream radical dreams. If it does pass, there are things and still work to do, and we will continue to work with the people to do so.
All right.
Ready, I'll say, look,
All power to the people.
All
all
power
power to the people. Go vote today.
Go
Vote.
vote today. Get
Go
it in.
vote. Please.
Go
If you don't do
vote.
nothing else, put your little stickers up. Let us know you was in there.
That's it.
Take a
Tag us
picture
with your
outside
little
your polling
stickers on.
place. We kicking it tonight. Where we at tonight, Osyrus?
Oh,
that's
right. I know it's election night parties all over the city, but I'm gonna just put what we got going on. We're gonna be at Aphrodisia Studios on Rodney Parham. Free admission, free food, free beverages, all that. Pull up and be merry the way that you be.
That's what it looked like when it's for the people. You hear me? Free food, free beverages. That's what it looked like when it's for the people. Come on.
Yeah. And if you wanna, indulge in something, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, come walk in your power.
You know what I'm saying? We just watching these election night results. We're gonna play some music. We're gonna be streaming whatever the news is saying, and we just gonna be watching the issues, and we're gonna see who gonna win these seats, these elected officials that's getting in there. So that's how we're gonna do it. 7 o'clock, we start the party.
That's what's up.
So last of the recap is issue 1, 2, 3. It's a no, it's a no.
None.
And issue 4 is vote in your heart and be ready to work with the people,
No matter what.
no matter what. That's it.
That's it.
But you know,
That's it, right?
but you know, most of the people that I know, when it come to issue 4, are not saying no. So
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, I agree with you. I got a lot of people register. I said just off that issue alone.
that's it.
Right. Right.
But hopefully we
When
ain't
it come to
50.
issue 4, most people I know are not saying no. And that's all I'm gonna say, because we riding with the people.
Right with the people.
already.
Yeah,
We love y'all, man. Get out and vote.
let's do it.